Hello, welcome to Pop Along RC, the RC car channel dedicated to RC car racing. And today I'm talking about 3 vintage buggies and my LMGT3 car. So it feels like it's been forever. I have been away on holiday and I'm a little bit rusty. It feels like I haven't raced in weeks and weeks. So I decided that I was going to take out my LMGT3 car over at Milton Keynes just to dust off the cobwebs, and I ended up having one of the most fun races with my good friend Mr. Chris Hampson, the legend. But before we get on to that, I want to talk to you a little bit about these 3 vintage cars. Now over here we have my Lightning Components Supercharged Super Hotshot. This car is, do you know what? It's a real pleasure to drive actually. I ran this at the Pop Along Vintage GP and I had great fun running this car. It performed really well on the track. We have got the revival coming up this weekend, but unfortunately I'm not booked in the class where I can run the Supercharged Super Hotshot. I am booked in to the class where I can run this, and this is my newly finished Tamiya Top Force Evo. So let's just take a quick look at the finishing touches to my Top Force Evo. Time to finish off the Top Force Evo. So, servo time. It is the Savox digital servo SC1258TG. We've used these in a couple of our cars. They're pretty solid servos. So let's get this in the car, and then we're going to move over to the electrics. Now the electrics I've got over here, this is an Aries 13.5 and a Just Stock ESC. I'm actually going to put in this motor here, which is a 10.5 motor, because it's a little bit quicker than the 13.5. So 10.5 is the limit for Iconic, and that's the one that I've got. Right, electrics are now in. I've got my ESC switch there, cables nice and tight into the receiver, which is a wireless receiver, and then over here for the motor I've put a little bit of heat shrink around all those just to try and keep it a little bit tidier. Not looking too bad. What I need to do now is put the top deck on, and then I've got a little bit of a project. So obviously this has come as a pre-sprayed shell, but I'm not wanting to go with the normal box look, so I'm going to try something a little bit different for this one and see how it comes out. Top deck is actually on the car now, and we're pretty much finished. I think I need to sort out these wires. Obviously this is a little bit long because this is the connectors that I had on the previous car it was in, so I might have a little tidy up of that, just to make it a little bit nicer. But other than that, the car is pretty much ready to go. I need to place the rear wing on here, and then let's go get this shell sorted. So as you can see, I have decided to spray up the shell. So it looks like it's got the orange to yellow to white livery, which matches my other cars, which is sort of the colour scheme here at Pop Along RC. So moving away from 4-wheel drive, because these are both 4-wheel drive cars, I am going to take you on to this car here. This is my 2-wheel drive Schumacher Cougar Classic with a few little hop-ups. However, the last time this car had an outing, I ran it at the Pop Along Vintage GP at Hearts, and unfortunately the ball studs at the back kept popping off, which meant I was losing the drive shafts as well. So I have an issue. I need to sort these out. I did buy some turnbuckles and some bits from a local shop, but unfortunately I got the wrong ones because they don't fit. The screws are too short and I can't work out exactly how to get them to fit. So I have a slight issue with this car. I have a dilemma. Do I take it to Revival, run it and hope that they don't fall off? Or do I take all the electrics out of this car and stick them into my Tamiya Super Astute, which I really want to run? So I've only got one set of electrics. It's a case of whether it goes in this car or the other one. Yeah, a bit of a dilemma there. I think there will be people at Revival that might be able to help me out and fix the problem, but it's not something that I have been able to work out with the parts that I have available to me at the moment. So anyway, back to the LM GT3 car. I'm really enjoying running this actually. It's a pleasure to drive. It's fun to drive. I don't seem to be much quicker with this than I was with the GT12. However, there's a couple of people running the LM GT3 setups at the club and they are running considerably quicker than they were with the GT12. So it is competitive to GT12. It is quite similar. So as you can see, Chris is just coming up in the pink car there and he's going to park himself next to me. So I'm running the white, yellow and red shell. We are both running LM GT3s and we're having our own little race at the back. And the 3 cars in front are GT12s. Chris and I qualified, I think, 2nd and 3rd in this race. So we're off and I'm just in front of Chris. Chris has made a little mistake coming into that first section. Now the first challenge we have got is to negotiate the traffic in front of us. Try and stay out of trouble. So 2 cars in front of me. A little bit scrappy through there. There's a space up the inside. Another little crash. I've actually got an issue with my shell and Chris has put me over the barrier.
Body tuck as well.
But as he puts me back on the track, I've got quite a serious body tuck and the front of my shell's dragging on the floor. So he needs to fix that so I can get back on the road.
Pretty hard.
Meanwhile, Chris has waited and we are off again, but we're a lap down before we even started. So the race is on. I've got a little bit of a gap to Chris now because he was a bit slow getting off again, and I am now chasing down the other drivers in the hope that I can make up some positions. So at the moment it's currently me in 4th, Chris is in 5th, but we are chasing down the blue car. But remember, they are already a lap up, so I've just unlapped myself, which puts me still in 4th place. I can see Chris with the pink car is chasing me down, but just behind him is Morgan. I've gone a little bit wide there, I've lost a lot of time, so now Chris is even closer to me. Coming through this section, I can see Morgan is coming round to the lap, so I am going to find an appropriate space to go wide to allow him to come through. So I've gone wide there to allow him through, then he's made a mistake and Chris has snuck through, so I'm now back in last place, but I am hot on the bumper of Chris. Unfortunately didn't find any room up the inside there, so it's time to chase him back down. He's got a little bit of a gap on me. Little mistake, I've snuck through, but Chris, oh man, another mistake from me. So I'm back, caught up with Chris again now, and I am putting the pressure on. I tried to dart up the inside, but there's no room there. If there's one thing Chris is very good at, it is holding the race in line and making it very difficult to get past. Nicely negotiated there. That could have been another accident, but I managed to sneak through. Chasing down Chris at the moment. I tend to be a little bit quicker than him down in this section, off the sweeper and into this little loop, whereas he is much better than me up at this part of the track, although that is a very good lap from myself, so I'm a little bit closer again this lap. Again, I'm trying to find a opportunity to get past, but whenever I get close I seem to make little mistakes, which allows Chris to get away again. we are very even. We have been all day. Every single round has been a close race, and it's been great fun running these cars. I am enjoying running the LM GT3s. I do find them a little bit easier to drive than the Atom 3 when it was set up as a GT12. The wider tyres definitely make it a little bit more planted. The 25 turn motor is a little bit slower and a little bit kinder in the delivery of power. This is some pretty close racing from myself and Chris at the moment. I'm still putting the pressure on, trying to find that space or that opportunity to get up the inside. I can't get much closer. Again, I tried to have another go there. I think we've just unlapped ourselves now. So, a little mistake from me. I've gone deep onto the straight because I was pushing a little bit too hard. So, I'm going to try and squeeze that trigger and try and get right back onto Chris's bumper. But he might have enough of a gap to hold on for this one. Although there's a bit of closing there. Getting a little bit closer, but again I can see in the distance in the background, I can see Morgan's coming around to lap us yet again, although we've got a few seconds before he's right on our bumpers. Again, pushing after Chris. He's super consistent today. He's putting in some really good laps. Again, I'm nice and close. Can I find a way through? Nice and tight through there. This is one of my favourite races actually when I race with Chris. We've had a lot of close battles on the track, not just with the LM GT3s, but when we run our Cougar Classics and even our two-wheel modified buggies, we are very close. That was a little bit too close. Obviously I've clipped him there and I've waited for him to get off. A little mistake, he's gone wide, I've snuck through. Morgan's on my bumper. And across the line, I think I've just picked Chris. And that is the end of the race. Wow.
Yes, and what's the done?
We are going to be heading indoors very soon and spending a lot more time running these sort of cars over the winter. Anyway, that's a quick waffly video about my preparations for this weekend's revival and obviously dusting off the cobwebs with the LM GT3. So if you've liked this video, please consider liking, subscribing, hitting the old ding dong bell, and hopefully we'll see you trackside soon.